For those of you who are not familiar with Ted.Thomas, Ted is the world's foremost authority on how to invest profitably in U.S. tax lien and tax deed certificates. He's literally written the course on it. Pretty much anybody else who's teaching this stuff learned it first of all from Ted.Thomas. Ted's been doing this for over 30 years, has thousands and thousands and thousands of students across the world, and most recently thousands of students from Canada who are going down and taking advantage of these kind of opportunities, which we just don't see here in good old Canada. So people are getting 10, 15, up to 30, 36% ROI on tax liens. Ted's going to be explaining all about that. Other Canadians are getting free and clear properties for pennies, literally pennies on the dollar, through tax deed certificates. And the nice thing is, I've known Ted for several years. We've been promoting Ted for 3 years now, I believe, and we have lots of successful students who, just like you, watched a webinar like this 1 or 2 years ago, have taken action, have gone out, and are getting these kind of returns. And we're going to be focusing on those with our Canadian case studies tonight. So, Ted, great to have you on the call.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, and we'll start out with a bang. And this won't be a drip, drip faucet. This will be a flood of information. A lot of things will happen in the next hour and 30 minutes.
Sounds good. Well, I'm going to see if we can make technology work for me, and I'm going to change the presenter over to you guys. So hopefully I got this right, and it's that one. If not, Gary, let me know, and we'll take it from there.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So, Gary, let's see if we can get this working right.
Gary's in the process of changing over right now. So now we should be over to I have control.
You have control, so we'll see what everybody's seeing.
It'll take a couple of seconds to move everything, and then it'll all happen.
All right, and in the meantime, again, just welcoming everybody who's coming on the call.
Right.
Good to have you here. Our call tonight is U.S. Tax Lien and Tax Deed Certificates, Canadian Case Studies. Dave Dubeau with Ted.Thomas.
Okay. Well, folks, let me start out by saying that thanks for coming on the call. This will be very informative. You get a ton of information. If you have a pencil and paper, you might want to take some notes. As I say, it will be a flood of information. And what I'm really going to talk about is I'm going to, first of all, give you all the basic information that you'd like to have. And then I'll transition and give you some information on how to do it. And then I'll actually show you people that from the last year's class. Now, last year I toured Alberta and I toured British Columbia, and we had so many successful people. I could take an hour and a half just with success, but what I need to do is I always have to lay the foundational material for you, and then once you have that material, I'll show you how to do it so that you'll know how, so it'll be a real learning experience. And then what we'll do is we'll visit with the people that have been successful. And some of these stories are absolutely phenomenal. The business has changed dramatically. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been teaching it in the provinces for 13 years. I've been working with Dave for 3 years. So I'm familiar with the provinces. I've done a lot of business there and brought a lot of Canadians here to learn how to do this. So with that, I think Gary's got me all set up in another couple of seconds. They have me set up, and then we'll roll right into the program. I actually call this wealth without risk, and the reason I do that is because this is really an investment where you take your hard-earned money and you invest it with the government, except we're going to invest it with the U.S. government. Now, tax lien certificates, I'll give you a brief history of this. Tax lien certificates have been around for 200 years. Now, the Canadian laws and the U.S. laws are similar. They're not exactly the same. They're similar. And the tax liens and tax deeds, actually, they take place in Canada. But I only teach the states because it's very tough to make any money in the Canadian provinces. It takes 2 or 3% is what they make, whereas here, I'm going to teach you a system tonight, and I'll show you how to lock in the actual amounts of money. You can earn 16%, 18%, all the way up to 36% interest on a tax certificate. Now, the other half of the business is if you don't buy tax certificates, you can buy tax deeds, which means the local government actually seizes the property, and once they seize the property, they wipe out the mortgage, and then they resell it for just the back taxes. So if you're ready to go, Gary, I'll go ahead and roll in with the program. You all set? Okay. All right, so we're starting our time clock, and we're running, so here we go, folks. All right, so I call it wealth without risk, but let's start out with a few people that attended this event before you did, and let's see what they have to say about all this.
The workshop was incredible. The level of expertise, the level of knowledge that has been passed from Ted and the other presenters and speakers has been incredible.
Never have I been to one that has offered me so much information toward achieving my financial goals as this one has.
This definitely has no risk if we follow the program that Ted has set out for us. I highly recommend it.
Unequivocally, this is the best seminar that I have ever been at, and it's far and away the best money I've ever spent.
This is some of the best value for the money I've ever seen in a seminar, ever.
I couldn't have done what I'm doing now without hearing what I learned from Ted.
It was absolutely excellent. We learned a lot from Ted.Thomas. He's not only taught us how to make a lot of money easily, but also how to keep it.
Probably one of the best, if not the best seminar that I've attended.
This course is awesome. It's awesome. The knowledge, the information, the know-how. You're ready to get started tomorrow.
Okay, and I know you guys are ready to get started, so let's do that. So just open up your mind. Let's let a lot of new information fall in. And here's some of the things you're going to discover. So first of all, you're going to discover how to make a minimum of 16, 18, 24, up to 36%. Now, you've probably read some of the mail pieces, some of the promotional about that. I'm going to go into that in depth. But what I have to do here for the first few minutes is lay the foundation. Once you get that foundation, then I can build on that, show you how to do it, and then I'll show you how to make money doing this. Okay, so in the first 15 minutes of this presentation, I will show you, I'll bring it up and show you, reveal how to put a $2,000 investment and make it into $120,000 just using tax certificates in a nice, safe environment. All right, so let's learn the step-by-step process of doing all this. I'm going to show you how other Canadians actually have purchased real estate in the States for 10 and 15 cents on the dollar with no mortgages. And I'm going to show you that before we finish tonight, but just give you a little preview of what's going to happen. Okay, I'm also going to show you how to make an extra. If you haven't done it before, I'm going to show you how to make, and how people that went through my class last year, some of them made an extra $25,000, some paid an extra $50,000, and some made an extra $100,000. I mean, these are huge sums of money. I've been teaching this for 20 years. The past 2 years have been the best, and it keeps getting better because if you don't know it, in the States, the real estate market is upside down. People are still losing properties. There's over 4 million foreclosures that the banks are holding. So despite what the politicians say about a great market, it's still pretty tough, but our business is fantastic. All the things you see on the screen, I'll show you, and I'll show you living proof of all those things. Okay, so ask yourself, what's the biggest financial problem that you're facing right now? And most people, if I ask them to raise their hand in a room, they'll say, oh, Ted, our biggest problem is security. So I'm going to show you how to have a lot more security in your life. If you need a lot more cash flow in your life, I'm definitely going to show you how to do that. And if you're worried about the future, I'm going to show you how to have a secure future. Everything I'll talk about tonight will be predictable, certain, and secure. If you're ever going to write a note, write that one. Predictable, certain, and secure, because that's all I talk about. Okay, now these are my Canadian celebrities. These are all people that had huge success this year. Now I have a lot of them, so I can't give you all of them tonight. But Deborah, she's making a 40% return on her investments right now. Kelly's I'm going to show you how he made $100,000. Now these are people that are sitting at home. These are people sitting at home doing it online. And then Joe that you see there, all three of those did it online. Now the couple on your right, Joan and Peter, they went to New York as I told them to do. And then we're talking about Renee over on the left, and he went to Los Angeles as I told him to do. These people are making small fortunes, but I'll demonstrate all that to you. Now what I have to do, so that you understand, is I want to lay a foundation, because if nothing else, you want to get a good foundation to understand this. Then we'll learn how to do it, and then we'll see how all these people did. So what am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about tax lien certificates. Now these are local government tax lien certificates. Here in the States, we have 3,200 counties, round numbers, 3,200, and another 1,450 municipalities. Now, when I say county tonight, you might want to think, oh, Ted means a municipality. That's exactly right. You call it a municipality, I'm going to call it a county. But there's 3,200, and these counties all sell either tax lien certificates or tax deeds, one or the other. Not to worry, I'll demonstrate every bit of that. All right, so let's start out with the basic information. Every property, doesn't matter whether it's an office building, doesn't matter whether it's a shopping center, doesn't matter if it's a dairy farm or just a house, has a value. So here you can see the value is $250,000. Now I know we're not going to buy a lot of properties in British Columbia for that, but $250,000, 1% tax, it's always owed to the local government. So just look at that slide and you understand that. Now if the local government doesn't collect the tax, in other words, if people don't voluntarily show up, then the government's going to see, you can see that little certificate coming out. Now that certificate's either going to be a tax lien certificate or it's going to be a tax deed. It's just a piece of paper. Okay, if it's a tax lien, it can pay 18, 36, it can pay any one of those interest rates. If it's a tax deed, it means you're going to get the property without a mortgage. Not to worry, I'm going to go into that in depth, and I'll do it again and again. Now, this investment is not with Ted.Thomas. I'm not a broker. I'm an educator. Okay, you can't buy anything from me. I'm just going to teach you how to do this. Okay, I'll provide you with learning tools if you want those. I'll show you how to do this online if you want to do it. I'll show you how to sit at home and do it if you want. I'll show you how to go to the auctions to do it. Any way you want to learn it, I can show you how to do it. I've been teaching it for 20 years, about 13 of those in the provinces. Now, we just finished in British Columbia. We did a short tour there, and last month we did one of Alberta, and next month we'll do one of Ontario and so on. All right, so let's talk about what this tax lien certificate. Now, a certificate is nothing more than a piece of paper. I'm going to reach over here and get a piece of paper, cover my face up for a second. Okay, it's just a piece of paper like that. That's all. That's all it is. The local government is. But it has power, because what you did when you bought a tax certificate is you paid someone else's taxes. That gives you rights in the property. It gives you rights in the property. That means if you own the tax certificate, that property can never be sold. It can never be transferred. Nothing can happen to that property until you get paid. So a tax certificate has power. It not only could you earn 16, 18, 24, up to 36%, but you can also own the property. I'm going to demonstrate that over the next few minutes. Okay, so what you did is you bought the tax certificate. So you didn't invest with me. All your investments are going to be invest with the government, get a check back from the government. Wow, how safe is that going to be? Invest with the government, get a check bigger back from the government, and that's what you want. This investment has a priority over a mortgage. Now, if you're a real estate broker or an attorney, your head goes upside down when I said it. No, Ted, that isn't right. Well, I'm here to tell you, go to your local title company, and they'll tell you the first lien on any piece of property, I don't care what it is, will be the tax lien certificate. So now you own it, so that gives you power. Now, let me tell you how simple this investment is. If you'll get this foundational material, you're going to see how powerful this is and how you can make a lot of money doing it. All right, number one, if you buy a tax certificate, you paid someone's taxes. Now, only two things, and I want you to write that down, only two things can happen with a tax certificate. One, the people come in and pay their taxes, then you give them their certificate back. That means you're going to get all your money back. Now, let me say that again. You'll get all your money back, plus one of those high interest rates. So that's a good thing. But wait a minute, Ted, what if they don't come in and pay me? If they don't come in and pay you, this is the part you're going to like. You're going to get the property without a mortgage. It's the law in every county, in every municipality, in every state in the United States. It's the law. It's not Ted.Thomas. I didn't make it up. This has been going on for 200 years. I didn't invent this system. It's been around for 200 years. I've been teaching it for 20. So now you're starting to get the idea. All right, so a tax certificate, you either get paid or you get the property. Now, if you didn't write that down, you made a mistake. You're going to miss the rest of the foundational material. All right, so what I'm going to talk to you about for the rest of the night is the safest and the most lucrative investment in North America today. Safest and most lucrative. Why? Because we give our money to the government, we get a check bigger back from the government, okay? That's a good thing. If we don't get paid, well, then you're going to get the property, and you're going to get the property without a mortgage. Now, I didn't make the rules. I'm bringing you the message. I'm the educator. I'll teach you how to do it. For what we're done tonight, I'm going to show you the tools you need to do it. I'm going to show you the systems you need to do it, and I'm going to show you how to do it online so you can sit on your rusty dusty anywhere in British Columbia and do it that you want to do it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make $2,000 in just a minute, take a $2,000 investment, and we're going to take it and make $120,000 out of it, and we're not going to take any risk. We're not going to take one iota of risk. I'll show you how to do that. But first, let's write this down. Lock in. Lock in means you're going to get a guaranteed rate. I don't guarantee it. The government guarantees that you'll get 16, 18, 24, up to 36%. Now I'm going to explain those states in just a minute. Okay, let's talk about the stock market for a minute. I'm not negative on the stock market, but we all know it goes up and then it goes down. It goes up, it goes down. All right, it's been our big uptrend over this past 5 years. So that's fine. I'm happy about that. But it does go up, and when it comes down, it takes back all the profit. Well, this investment doesn't do that. This investment always goes up. It always goes up. Now, I'm a real estate guy, and I've been involved in real estate for about 50 years now. Okay, I love real estate. I made millions and millions of dollars in real estate, and I also lost millions of dollars in real estate. Okay, I live in Florida right now. I'm speaking to you from the back of my home. I live on a little island off the coast. It's called Merritt Island. Okay, in my backyard, right behind from where I'm talking, there's a large lake. I'm surrounded by palm trees. Temperature runs, during the cold winter months, runs about 80 degrees in the Fahrenheit scale. It's a beautiful place to live. But it's not a beautiful place to own real estate if you paid retail, because Florida real estate, depending upon where you are, in the last 5 years has dropped anywhere from 30 to 70%. 30 to 70%. So my neighborhood, where the houses were 500,000 to 600,000, you can buy all you want for 200,000. So that's not such a much real estate investment. So I want you to know that if you want to make money all the time, this is what you want to think about doing. If you're a conservative investor, which I am, you want to buy tax lien certificates, because they always pay you or you get the property. They always pay you or you get the property. I didn't make that rule. It was a rule that was made 200 years ago. I did not make that rule. Okay, now when you buy a tax certificate, read what the slide said. It's the law. The tax collector automatically puts you in first lien position. All right, so watch, I put the piece of paper in front of my, it's just a piece of paper, a tax certificate. Now it's going to have your name on it. Your name on it. It's going to have an interest rate on it. That certificate goes in the county file. That property can never be changed. You can't move that property. They can't sell it. They can't mortgage it. They can't do anything in that property until they pay you. So you're either going to get paid or you're going to get the property. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the rule, and that's the way it works. And that's the way, that's something you want to learn how to honorably and ethically take advantage of it. I'll show you how to do that. All right, now let's talk about these rates. Now open up your mind a little, because I'm going to kind of move you around the country. So let's go to Vancouver Airport and let's fly to Phoenix. And when we get there, we're going to go to the tax auction. If we bought a certificate today, this day where you hear my hands moving, you bought it there and it stayed outstanding for a whole year, you'd earn 16%. Now check that out, 16%. Compare that with the Bank of Montreal or TD Bank or anyone that you have to be using. 16% is a lot different than what they're paying. All right, now let's go to Illinois. Let's go to a place like the middle of Illinois. Illinois has 103 counties. They all sell tax certificates. So if you bought a certificate today and it stayed outstanding for 6 months, you'd earn, as you can see there, 18%. However, the first 6 months would be 18. The second 6 months, you'd get another 18. So 36% in Illinois. Now, I didn't make the rules, but that's what you'd make, 36%. Now, we're not going to talk about insignificant numbers here. We're going to talk about thousands of tax certificates. I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be over 5,000 tax auctions this year, and there's hundreds of thousands of tax certificates. Now, I already told you I'm talking to you from Florida. In Florida, in 2014, over 1 million property owners did not pay their property tax. 1 million property owners did not pay their property tax. That means you could have bought the certificate on any one of those, and you would have had a guaranteed rate of return. And the highest rate in Florida is 18%. All right, now here's Georgia. In Georgia, if you bought a certificate this day, it could stay outstanding up to 1 year, okay? Any day they come in to pay, they have to pay you all of your money back plus 20%. So visualize this. Just kind of look at my hands for a second. If you bought the certificate today and it got paid off in 30 days, you'd earn 20%. If it got paid off in 150 days, you'd earn 20%. Now, the beauty about Georgia is they have 159 counties, and they all have an auction every month. Now, if you really thought out what I said, that means you could buy a certificate today and get paid off, go back next month to another auction, buy that certificate and get paid off. You could make a lot more than 20% in Georgia in 1 year. They have plenty of auctions there. There's going to be 159 auctions every single month, every month. Okay, now let's go to Iowa. In Iowa, you raise your hand, you buy a certificate. The day you buy the certificate, starts a little clock ticking on, just like the one on 60 Minutes, okay? Clock starts ticking. It can tick all the way out to a year. Okay, for every month they haven't paid you, they owe you 2% a month. I said 2% a month. That means 24% at the end of the year. Now, everyone likes to talk about Texas. So let's talk about Texas. Texas, if you bought a certificate today, that would start the clock going tick, 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 just like on 60 Minutes. Okay, so that clock could tick for 180 days. If they don't pay you in that 180 days, on the 181st day, you own the property. 181st day, you take the property. But any day they do come in and pay, they have to pay you back everything you invested, plus 25% return. Think of those returns. Folks, those are powerful, powerful returns. All right, now my favorite state is Georgia. Now in Georgia, let me demonstrate that again. If you bought the certificate today, it could stay outstanding for 1 year. Any day they come in and pay, they have to pay you 20%. Now after 1 year, you could start a foreclosure. You could take over the property. You don't have to take over the property. I tell you not to if you're my student. let the certificate go into the next year. Let it roll into the next year, because in the subsequent year, in the second year, you will not earn 20%. You will actually earn 30%. And if it goes another year, you'll earn 40%. If you go one more year, you'll earn 50%. So there you have it. So you're starting to see these are pretty powerful certificates. Now, I haven't told you all. All I've told you about is tax certificates. Half of the states are going to sell tax deeds. That means the government is going to seize, they're going to take the property, they're going to get rid of the mortgage, and they're going to sell it for the back taxes. I didn't make that rule either, but that rule has been in effect for 200 years. You can take advantage of those sales too, and we'll get to those as we go along. Okay, quick review. Every property has a tax. It's due to the local level. Okay, you're going to call it a municipality. I'm going to call it a county. The county will issue, if they don't get paid, they'll issue a tax lien or a tax deed. That's our foundation. Now let's start building on that foundation and learn the different steps that go on. Now, who does this? I can tell you right now, rich people have been doing it for decades, but they're not going to tell you about it. Why? Why do they want you at the auction? Why should they tell you about it? Okay, your broker didn't tell you, I'm sure. Your financial planner won't tell you. Your investment advisor won't tell you. None of these people are going to tell you. Okay, here's a wonderful slide. Read it closely, okay? It says the government, not Ted.Thomas, not some broker, the government gives you the right to receive all of your money back. Okay, read the slide again. It says all of your money back. Can you do that in a real estate investment? Can you do that in a stock market investment? Can you do that in oil and gas investment? No way. This investment, the government gives you the right to receive all of your money back. I didn't make the rule. It's the statute in every state and every county in the United States. Okay, so why does the government do this? Well, it's a quick way for them to raise money. So for the millions of people that don't pay their property tax, remember, this is a property tax, not an excise tax, not a value-added tax. It's not an income tax. This is a property tax. They get that money in quickly because they're going to sell those properties for the back taxes. Believe me, they're going to get paid. Okay, so the tax collector does all the work, and now you can make all the way up to 36%. So let's think about what I just said. I just said this is a passive investment. You buy the certificate, you go home and sit on your rusty dusty, or if you bought it online, you can just stay on your rusty dusty. That's it. You just don't have to do any work at all. The county tax collector does all the work. How's it going to get any better than that? It's not going to get better than that. Okay, now look on the left side of the slide. This property owner is not paying their tax. So the top of the slide says, why does the county sell it? Everybody asks me the same question. Ted, why does the county sell these certificates? Well, let's look. That property owner didn't pay their taxes. How are the police going to be paid? How are the fire departments going to be paid? Are the libraries, or the schools, or the road? Folks would have no school teachers working after 2 weeks if they didn't get paid. They'd all quit. Okay, so the property owner, if they don't pay, how is the local government going to pay those, or pay the government employees or fix the roads? They're not going to be able to do all that. So the reason for this is that they need to maintain, the local government has to maintain the police and the fire departments and so on. Now, I can't imagine living without police departments and fire departments. We'd all be endangered all the time. So we don't want to have that. So our system says, all right, collect it from the property owners. If they won't pay it, we're going to take the property, we're going to auction them out, so let somebody else pay it. Okay, now why haven't your brokers told you about this? Well, let me tell you why your broker hasn't. Because a broker wants you to buy a penny stock or a mutual fund or a high-tech stock. Because why? Because they're going to earn a high commission. That makes sense. Well, I'm not against commission. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, well, how about your real estate broker? Well, same situation. They want you to buy a house, or they want you to buy a commercial building, or buy some rental property or something like that. Okay, I'm not against any of those things, but they're only working for commission, so they're not going to tell you. This program has no commissions. There's no middleman. There's no bankers involved. There's no brokers involved. There's no attorneys involved. You're going to buy these direct. You cannot buy them from me. I'll teach you how to buy them. I'll teach you all the steps. I'll show you how to do it online, even if you want. Any way you want to do it, I'll even have people take you to an auction if you want to do it. You can do any way you want. However, there's no commission paid to any of these people. All right, so bankers know about this, but they don't tell anybody. So what does a bank want you to do? Put your money in the bank, get a nice solid 1%. Okay, now, you're not going to like what I'm going to tell you right now, but bear with me a little bit. The banks are the biggest investors. Now, you can't see me too well, but kind of look at me. Over here in this hand is your $10,000, okay? And they're paying you a nice solid 1%. Can they do anything they want with your money? Yes, they can. All right, what if they take that money and go over here and invest it in Texas? Do you remember how much they paid in Texas? Yeah, 25%. That's right. Okay, well, when the Texas thing pays off, who keeps the 25? Does a bank keep it, or do you get it? Well, we both know the answer to that. The bank's going to keep it all. So they give you a nice solid 1%, and they can make all the money they want. Now, am I talking about the Canadian banks? No. I'm talking about the states, okay? Everything I talk about tonight is the states. I don't teach the Canadian system because it doesn't pay enough money. It's not lucrative enough. Am I negative Canada? Heck no. I'm just telling you what the system is. That's all. The system here pays a lot of money, so if you learn how to do it, you can make a lot of money. All right, now this is a slide you have to write down. You have to write this one down. If you miss this one, you have missed the whole foundation. All right, so the county treasurers tell me this. Now, when I go to the county, I always knock on the door of the treasurer. I say, look, if I send my Canadian friends, my California friends, my Florida friends, my New York friends, whoever they might be, if I send them in to buy the certificates, are they going to get their money back? That's all you care about. You're going to get your money back on the profit. Of course, that's why we're doing it. And here's what they tell me. It's on the bottom of the screen. Every one of those county treasurers says the exact same words. They say, Ted, if you send investors in 2 years' time, in 24 months, 95 to 97% will have all their money back. And I said, wait, say that again. They say, in 2 years' time, 24 months, 95 to 97% will have all your money back. Now think about that. First of all, it's a short-term investment. And now, let's think about the insurance. The insurance is 97% of you are going to get paid. All right, now I want you to think of it. You got to think. All right, I just said 97% of you have an assurance of getting paid. But earlier I said it was predictable, it was certain, it was secure. I'm telling you now 3% of you are not going to get paid. Now, you can raise your hand if you want so Dave can see you. How many of you would like to be part of the 3%? Well, the ones that understand it know they would like to be part of the 3% because if you don't get paid, you get the property. So 97% get paid, 3% don't get paid. So if you're part of the 3%, that's not such a bad deal after all, is it? Because you own the property without a mortgage.
Got some hands going up there.
I'll bet. Yeah. They want to be part of that 3% because they're going to get a property without a mortgage. Okay, so now we're getting to this foundation of what you're starting to say, well, Ted, how can I lose? Well, I don't know how you're going to lose, but if you try hard enough, I guess some people can lose. I don't see any people losing money. I see them all making money, and they sure make money as my students, and you're going to get a real education on that before we finish. All right, let's look at this slide. Let's look at it together. Okay, I want you to look at this slide. It's black and white. Now say, Ted, I can see it's black. Just say that to yourself. I can see it's black and white. Well, I'm here to tell you that the law is black and white. So I want you to be patient enough. If there's nobody else in the room, just do it with me. If there's somebody else in the room, they're going to think you're crazy, but do it anyway. I want you to read the center of the slide. It says, you get paid or you get the property. Folks, it doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't get any better than that. Okay, sit back with your notepad for a second. Sit back. I'm going to show you how to make money with tax certificates. I'm going to show you how to take a $2,000 investment and make it into $120,000. So it's a little story about my friend Dave. He lives in Phoenix, Arizona. Called me on the telephone. He said, Ted, I just put $2,000 in the bank. And I said, well, great. Why did you do that? He said, well, Ted, I'm 35 today, and I want to retire when I'm 55. I said, okay, I got it. So what's the plan? He said, I put $2,000 in the bank. I said, what is the bank paying? He said the bank was paying him 3.75. I said, well, that's a pretty high rate. I mean, I don't believe that. Most of the banks are paying 1%. He said, Ted, I got a special deal with the bank. I said, okay, I got it. I said, okay, what are you going to do? He said, I put $2,000 in the bank. I'm going to earn 3.75, and I'm going to, as soon as the certificate comes due the first year, I'm going to roll it over every year. I'm just going to keep reinvesting it for the next 20 years. I said, okay, great. So tell me what your $2,000 is going to be worth. He said, I don't know. I said, oh my goodness. Well, you know, most people don't know what the retirement's going to worth. I just did a tour of British Columbia. 25 to 35% of every room were people with a whole bunch of gray hair like I've got, and they're worried about their retirement. And they don't know how much they're going to get. And guess what? The prices are all going up, aren't they? They're going up, and their retirement's staying down, isn't it? Well, what's happening? The government's inflating all the money. We all know that. The government's inflating, and you're not getting any more. I understand it. So 25%, 30, maybe even 30% of the people in the room were all retired. I said, what's this going on here? Well, everybody's having trouble. I said, all right, tell me about this investment. He said, I put $2,000 in the bank, and I'm going to make 3.75. So I said, what's it going to be worth? He couldn't figure it out, so I figured it out with a calculator. Here's what the number is. His $2,000 in 20 years is going to be worth a whopping There it is, $4,129. Well, I don't think he's going to be doing very good. So let's look at some other investments. I said, Dave, why don't you take the same $2,000 and let's invest it in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, if you made some notes, you already know in Arizona they pay 16%, don't they? Yeah, on those tax certificates. I said, why don't you buy $2,000 worth of tax certificates? He said, okay, why don't I do that? He said, what would it be worth? I said, well, if you buy it once, just keep every time they pay off, which they pay off every 2 years, then go ahead and leave it there for the 20 years. He said, how much would I have? I said, well, it's not going to be $4,100. Matter of fact, it's going to be, whoo, take a look at that, $30,000. All I changed was the interest rate, folks. All I changed was the interest rate. He said, wow, Ted, I really like this. I said, well, are you going to do it? And he said, well, I'm a little nervous and I'm kind of worried about it. You know, I don't want to lose my money. And that's what everybody's worried about. Well, let me tell you, this investment won't let you down. You can't invest with me. I will never take you. You can send me $1 million. I'll send it back to you. I don't want your money. Okay? I'm going to teach you how to do it. That's all. I'm not an investment guy. I am an investment guy for teaching it, but that's it. Okay? All right. So I said, Dave, let's take your $2,000. Now listen carefully. Let's take your $2,000. I want to make sure you hear my promise. $2,000, and let's invest it in Iowa. You remember Iowa paid 24%? I hope you wrote that down. Okay. So we put $2,000 in the calculator, and then I put 24%. I figured out 1 year, and then I rolled it over for 20 years. Folks, take a look at this. There it is, $120,000. That's Donald Trump kind of money. Now, how much did I invest? I only invested $2,000. You guys have blown that going out to dinner. You blew that on a bad car deal you bought. Everybody did that. Folks, if you're taking the same $2,000 in Iowa, you're worth $120,000. I hope you're getting the idea. I mean, this is a powerful, powerful way to make money. Can I guarantee what you're going to get? I don't have to. The local government guarantees it. If you don't get paid, you get the property. So what have I talked about? I said a $2,000 investment at 24%, it's $120,000. Folks, how does that compare with your current investment program? I didn't ask you to mortgage the house. I didn't ask you to sell your car. I didn't ask you to do any of that. Just make some small investment. Now, a little later on, as I get into the instructional phase of teaching how to do it, what if we did that online? You could sit on your rusty dusty and do that. And what about all the different states I haven't even told you about? Okay, read that slide slowly. All right, so let's look at this and develop it to another level where you guys could really have some money. I want you to do this with me, okay? All you have to do is, if there's no one in the room, or do it in your head so they don't hear. If someone's in the room, they're going to kind of laugh and giggle. But so what? You're learning how, and that's the important thing. You won't forget this if you'll do it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to reinvent you. That's right, we're going to reinvent you, okay? Okay. All right, so we're going to do this. Let me see what's the matter with my slide here. Okay. All right, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to invest $2,000. And I want you to do that for 5 years in a row. Now, obviously, that's $10,000. Now, what are we going to do with the $10,000? Well, we already learned that Iowa paid a lot of money. So why don't we take the $10,000 and let's invest it in those Iowa certificates. Now, we got to invest it. And we know these certificates pay off. If they pay off, that means we're going to get the money back. So we get the money back and the interest. Let's keep reinvesting it. In other words, let's reinvest that $10,000 in once. Every time something pays, we reinvest it. Let's do that for 20 years. All right, now let's take a step back a second. What's the number I'm looking for? Let's back up. There it is. I'm going to try and find you $300,000. Now, does that make a little difference in your life? Yeah, that would make a hell of a difference in your life. Okay? All right, so I said $2,000, 5 years in a row, that's $10,000. Now we're going to take the $10,000. What are we going to do? Well, there it is. $10,000 at 24% for 20 years. You're going to roll that over. All you're going to do is roll it over. Let's see if we get up with the $300,000. Now, my math isn't really great. I'm not known for being a mathematician, but let's take a look and see how we did. We were shooting for 300. Let's see how it works out. Wow. Take a look at that. Take a look at that number. Now, just for a second, have a little fun with me. Close your eyes and see if you can still see that number. Yeah, kind of play along with you a little bit. Why not? Oh, boy. Now, if you got your eyes closed, keep them closed, and see if you can turn the number red. Yeah, make it red. Look at that big number. Wouldn't that feel good if you had that? Okay, make it blue. That's your favorite color anyway. Go ahead and do blue. All right. Well, let's go back and let's review this a little bit. how would you feel if you had that money? Yeah, you feel pretty good. Okay, what would your family say? Some of them would probably say, when's he going to die? Yeah. Okay, what kind of security would you have? Now, folks, I didn't make a big risky investment. What I asked you to do is what? How much did I ask you to invest in any 1 year? It was $2,000. And we did it for 5 years, and we just kept rolling it over. I mean, I hope it's making sense to you. So that's what tax certificates can do for you. It's up to you. Is it a conservative investment? Yes. You invest with the government, you get a bigger check back from the government. Okay? Can't invest with me. Everything I'm talking about is predictable, it's certain, and it's secure. So here's a question to put in the back of your mind. How many of you can find $2,000 for 5 years in a row so you can have $500,000? Every one of you. We're talking about $165 a month. You can't even buy a car for $165 a month. You can have $500,000. Okay, you're kind of getting the idea. All right, well, let's keep growing, okay? So now let's go and let's learn how some of these other Canadian friends of yours and neighbors invested a couple of $1,000 and made some big bucks with the tax deeds, okay? So first I want you to understand, half of the states sell tax lien certificates. That means they sell the certificate, the people can come in and pay off the certificate, and they have to give them the certificate back. All those states are very benevolent. They're very benevolent. They're not taking the property. They're just issuing a certificate. And the certificate can be redeemed, and they can get they're not going to lose their property. The other half of the states, they are not so benevolent. They are going to seize the property. And let me say it again. They are going to seize the property for non-payment of taxes. They're going to, once they seize the property, they wipe out the mortgage. It's the law. It's not Ted.Thomas. It's the law. They wipe out the mortgage, and then they resell it, starting bid back taxes. The local government wants taxes. If they don't get their taxes, they're going to bring in the property, they're going to seize it, they're going to sell it for back taxes. All right, so let me show you some of the learning tools so you kind of get the idea of how you're going to learn all this, because you're going to have to go through a learning part. You're not going to, this is no place for trial and error. You don't want to go playing with this. You don't want to take 2 years like I did. I've been doing this for 20 years. It took me 2 years to learn it. You guys can learn it in months. I'm going to show you people making money in 90 days. 90 days, my God, it's unbelievable. Okay, so we got guidebooks, we got directories. I have a lot of ways to teach you, and I'm going to show you the different tools as we go along. But first of all, I want you to understand, we've got DVDs so you can watch videos, and we've got CDs so you can do it in your car. But look over on the left. I know you looked there already anyway. Look there and see that price point. I'm going to freeze that price point. Now, remember I said that. Freeze the price point. Okay, remember. I'm going to freeze it, and you'll be very delighted before we get done here what's going to happen. Okay, now these are just gifts, and I'm going to get people to get involved with me tonight. I'm going to add all of these to that program over there. No charge for these. I'm going to add these to the program tonight. Okay, in the provinces, you have what's called an RRSP. Now, that's for private entrepreneurs when they want to have an account that's taxed, that's you don't have to pay tax on until you take the money out. Okay. Okay. In the States, we call that an IRA. So I've added a small course. I call it a gift from Uncle Sam. I've added that to the course material because legally you can have one of those here in the States. All right. In addition to that, this is called a hand-holding and deal-making set. Now, these are DVDs. Now, when I say hand-holding, we really hold your hand on this. These DVDs, you can take them out of the package, just open up your laptop and put them in the laptop, and then you can see someone actually buying tax lien certificates online. You can watch it. In other words, it's a woman, and she's a video coach. She's just going to be there right online. You can actually see it, how she does it. You can watch, you just watch it a couple of times, and for sure you'll get it. Okay, and then the last thing I put there is a question and answer hotline. This is really, really powerful. Okay, now that has a value of $1,800. Now the question and answer hotline is I open up a telephone line. Actually, we stopped doing the telephone about 2 months ago, so I need to tell you, we open up the internet, so you can come on the internet, so it doesn't cost you, don't even have to make a long distance call. You can get on the internet, and then we have a coach there every Wednesday night. Now, Coach Crystal handles that call. She's been with me for over 10 years. There is no Canadian that can stump her with a question. We've been through all the questions because I've been teaching this for 13 years. Okay, she's there. Now, this I normally charge $150 a month for, but everybody that gets involved tonight, I'm just going to add that to your program. All right, so I'll come back and tell you about more of those things in a few minutes. All those things you see there are going to be my gifts to the people that get involved tonight. All right, now let's take a step back, and I'll tell you a little bit about how I learned this and why I learned it, okay? Because that'll be a good education for you guys So you'll see it took me a long time. You guys can be making money in 90 days, and I'll show you people doing that before the time's up. All right. Okay, now, first of all, when I started, there was no laptop computers, that's for sure. There wasn't anything like that. For example, if I wanted to go to Phoenix, Arizona and buy a certificate, I had to fly from wherever I was. I had to fly to Phoenix, go into the county records, say, have you got a list of tax certificates or whatever, and they would give me the list. Then I have to go look them up in the property records. Then I'd go out and drive around. I'm going to show you how to do that sitting at home. Sitting at home. As a matter of fact, when I show you what we've got on our membership site, you'll be shocked. Okay, so there was no books. I wrote one of the first books and put it in the bookstores, and but there's no books, and there was no classrooms. And for you guys that don't know it, I'm going to be in Vancouver, in Burnaby, on the 12th, 13th, and 14th, teaching a 3-day class. So if you learn a lot tonight, don't miss that class, because you can multiply what you learned tonight by 100, because I'll have people there teaching just how to do all these things. All right, now how did I get in this business? I got in this business because my first career was an airline pilot. That was good, but when I found out I could make a lot of money in business, I said, I'm going to business. And I went in business, I started buying apartment houses and office buildings with a small group of investors. Now that business grew to $200 million. But depending upon your age, you probably don't remember this, but in 1986, we got a huge crash in the market here in the States. Now, it was as big as the crash we had in 2009. All the real estate came down by 50, 60, 70%. All right, so the market came crashing down. And at that point, I came crashing down along with it. So I had this $200 million bankruptcy in 1986. Okay, I'll tell you the lessons of that year pretty quick. Okay, so the markets dropped out. I lost everything. No more fancy house in the country club. No more private jet to go around. But here's what I learned. I learned get out of the risk business. And boy, I've been out of the risk business ever since then. So my house is paid for, my Mercedes is paid for, my pension plan's got money. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff anymore. I love working, I love teaching this, so that's why I still do it. But let's look at this slide. No more debt. I'm never going to tell you to get debt. Okay, no more difficult businesses. If it's difficult, don't do it. Don't do it if it's difficult, because you won't be succeeding. And no more risk. All right, so I learned all my lessons. All right, so now I decided to get in the tax lien business. Now I decided that because I just heard, I didn't know, there was no classes, there was no books in the bookstore. I had heard that you could earn a lot of money, and so I started doing a little research. So one of the places I called was Baltimore, Maryland. Now the reason I called Baltimore is I found out that they paid 24% on a tax certificate. Now I couldn't believe 24%. The market at that time was 5 or 6% at the bank. I couldn't believe anybody could pay 24. And I said, well, if I could earn 24% of my money, it's not going to take me too long to make a lot of money. Just like we just demonstrated a few minutes ago, we just put $2,000 and we could bring it up to $500,000. So that was a pretty good book. So I figured that was pretty good. So the next thing I did is I called Baltimore, and I got a woman on the phone, and I said to her, I said, listen, my name is Ted.Thomas. I'd like to buy some tax lien certificate. She said, oh, we have those. And I said, great. Can you send me a list of those? And she said, listen to this. She said, I'll send you a catalog. And so she sent me this big catalog with 9,127 tax liens. Now, I was staggered by that because every one of them paid 27% or 24%. So I was really surprised at all that. So the next thing I figured out in the back of my head, I figured, you know, I have just found the gold mine. I'm just giving you the information. You don't have to go find it. I found it, and I'm passing it on to you. So I started calling other counties. So I called another county in Florida. Now, this Florida county was Hillsborough County, which is Tampa, Florida. Now, for those of you who don't know Tampa, it's on the Gulf side of Florida, about halfway down the peninsula. So I called there, and I got a woman on the phone again, and I said to her, do you sell tax lien certificates? She said, sure. And I said, well, I'd like to get a list of those. And she said, oh, well, I can't send you the list. And I said, what do you mean you can't send me the list? She said, well, the list is too big to send. I said, too big to send? She said, yeah, there's so many people haven't paid their taxes, the list is too big, and I can't send it to you. I said, well, what will I do if I want to buy some? She said, you have to call the newspaper. So I called the newspaper, and here's what happened. They sent me the newspaper, and there it is. Now, you can't see the depth of that newspaper unless you look real close, but that's got 40,000 tax certificates in it. That's one county in Florida, one county. The certificate's maximum rate there is 18% in Florida. So now I know I found the gold mine. So told you earlier when I was talking that half of the states will sell tax liens and the other half will sell tax deeds. So I said, I think I'll call some of the counties that actually sell the tax deeds. Now, if I get a deed, that means I can get the property. So I called New York State. And what did they do? They told me to call the individual counties. And each individual county has a brochure, and you can see the brochure there. You actually, if you look close, you can see the pictures of the properties. Hard to see on your computer, I know that. Okay? They have hundreds and hundreds of properties that they want to sell for just the back taxes. Now, I have clients in Ontario. They go down there and they buy these all the time. And I'm going to show you someone from Edmonton that I sent to this auction in just a minute. Okay, so they sell tax liens and sell tax deeds. So now I found the gold mine. So now I'm going to take you and show you what a gold mine it is. All of the properties that sell as tax deeds are mortgage-free. Mortgage-free. There's no mortgage in these properties. They're selling them for just the back taxes. Okay, so we're going to go, and I'm going to let you guys do a little work with me. Okay, so look at the slide. It's the same brochure. Look at the slide closely, and you can see up in the right-hand corner it says what? Sullivan County. And it's 468 properties. Okay, now look at the bottom right. It said minimum bid back taxes. Okay, now let's look at the brochure itself. How many days does this auction take place? You can just answer that to yourself. Look at that. It's going to take them at least 2 days. Now below that, that's certainly that gray area there, outline of a state. That doesn't look like British Columbia, does it? Well, that's the state of New York. Now go way to the bottom of that gray graphic, and you can see Long Island sticking out into the Atlantic Ocean. Then you can see a dark spot on there. That's the county. Now, if you'll think about this, Long Island, at the end of Long Island, the west end of Long Island, is New York City. There's 18 million people, more than all of Western Canada lives in New York City. 18 million people. I'm going to tell you right now, there was 468 properties available. They could not sell all the property, and yet 18 million people were within 100 miles. That gray area you see on the bottom of the estate is Sullivan County. They could not sell all the properties because the county does not advertise the auction. They just send out the brochure to the people that request it. Okay, let's go to page 2 of the same. All right, so what does it say on the left? It says mortgage free. It shows you how many properties available. If you really look real close at it, you can see that it's divided up into about 60 different counties. We're only talking about one county. One county is all we're going to talk about. All right, now, I'm going to give you a little homework session right here, so if you'll do it with me, you'll get a huge education, absolutely huge education. So I'm teaching a class here in Florida, and I do about 4 classes a year, and so I do a couple of those in the Canadian provinces this year, and then I do a couple here in the state. So a couple from Edmonton is attending my class, and they said, where should we go? And I said, I want you to go to Sullivan County, New York, and I want you to buy some of these properties because you're going to be able to get them for 20 cents on the dollar. So let's see what happens. Now, you definitely need a pencil and paper so you can write this down, because this is a very, very important lesson that you're going to get right now. And you are about to see how that you can become very wealthy. You are about to see how you can become very wealthy. All right. Now, that's a tablet that I'm going to explain later to show you how to appraise properties, and I'll talk to you about that in just a second. Okay, now here's our couple. They're from Edmonton, Canada. All right, now it's quite a ways from New York, but they went to New York just like I told them, and let's see what she has to say happened to them. Now, what I want you to do, now if you don't do this, you're going to hurt yourself. You're not going to hurt me. If you want the lesson, I'll give you a huge lesson right now. So I want you to write down what she pays for the property and what it's worth. I want you to write down what she pays and what it's worth. Here we go.
I first met Ted last August through Dave Dubeau's webinar, and we had decided that we really needed something more for our retirement. And when I saw tax deeds, I really knew that this was something that we could do and that would work for us.
The first time Joan brought this tax liens and deeds business to my attention, I thought it was just one of those other get-rich-quick schemes that we've seen so many of before. You know, they're always too good to be true until you actually investigate them, and then you know they are. This one here was different. Once we got into the auction part of it itself, the more we researched it, the more we found that it was viable.
We went to our first auction in June, 2 weeks ago, in Sullivan County, New York.
You want to write this down, write it down. 500
properties up for auction, and we ended up buying 4 of them. The first one we got was a single family home, It was valued at $70,000. We paid $25,000 for it. It has a tenant already in it. She's on renter's assistance, so the government is actually going to pay us $800 a month rent. The second property we bought was 27 acres of land on a beautiful side hill overlooking the river. Forested land. It's divided into 5 lots. It's valued at $175,000, and we paid $12,000 for it. Then we also bought 2 residential lots. They're both about 2 acres, and one we paid $1,000 for, one we paid $600 for. They're both valued at $20,000.
Without taking Ted's course, we'd never have learned how to do tax deeds and liens. We had heard about it before, but you know, it's very difficult to find lists of properties that are available, and let alone trying to find which counties have sales on at what time and all that kind of stuff.
But Ted gives us all that information. It's very well laid out, and we're just excited about our future. This is going to give us all of our dreams and hopes fulfilled, because we do it together, and the earning potential is unlimited.
Retirement, here we come.
Okay, now I want you to just sit back for a second, look at your notepad, because this is very, very important. I'm going to give you a competitive advantage right now, if you understand. Okay, so the first property she bought, you wrote down, worth about $70,000, and she paid about $25,000, but it had a renter person in it. So she's already getting about $850 a month rent. So don't even touch that one. Just leave that. Keep getting the rent. No reason to sell it. Just keep getting the rent for a while. But the second one she purchased was worth $175, and she only paid $12. All right. So that means she paid about 6 cents on the dollar. Now, you guys are not going to be buying these properties to just buy up as much of the United States as you can. You're going to buy these so that you can turn that property into cash. So I'm going to give you the steps to do that right now. I just want you to pay close attention. So we know it was worth $175. We know she paid $12. Here's my suggestion. Sell the property on eBay or Craigslist. Here's the ad. Visualize the ad. Tax assessed value, $175,000. Must sell for $62,000. Raise your hand so Dave can see it if you know how much profit there was in that deal. So I'll repeat it. $175,000 must sell, tax assessed value. Must sell for $62,000. Well, you guys figured it out. There's $50,000 profit, and we all know, if we advertise on Craigslist, we advertise on eBay, we put an ad in the local paper that said tax assessed value $175, must sell for $62, that property's going to sell in a very short period of time. All right, let's look at the other 2. One of them was a residential lot she bought for $1,000. How many residential lots can you buy anywhere in the province of British Columbia for that kind of money? There's no way you couldn't do it. The other one she bought for $600. But you know what? You don't want real estate. You want cash. So let's do the same thing. Let's put it on eBay. Let's put it on Craigslist. Let's put it in the paper. Residential lot, assessed, $20,000, must sell for $5. You tell me how long it's going to take. The point is, you buy it low, you sell it low. Everybody else in real estate is telling you something else. Everybody else is telling you, buy it low and sell it high. Ted.Thomas is telling you, buy it low and sell it low. If you got that lesson, it'll make you a millionaire, and I'll show you why in just a few minutes. All right, so I'm on my search. I took you through my search. I was learning about this business, so I'll quickly take you backwards. It only take me a couple of seconds to do it. And what did I say? I learned by calling these different counties. I'm going to show you how you can do that online in a few minutes. Okay, all these different places have plenty of properties to sell. Finally, I called Los Angeles, and I got a guy on the phone, and I said, listen, I want to buy some tax lien certificates. And he said to me, we don't sell tax lien certificates. I said, well, what do you do with those high-priced properties in Los Angeles? He said, we auction them off for the back taxes. I said, wow, you auction back taxes? I said, what happens to the mortgage? He said, the mortgage is wiped out. And I asked him, I said, how can you wipe out the mortgage? He said, in every county in the United States, the mortgage is wiped out. I said, will you send me a list for Los Angeles? He said, sure, I'll send you a list. So I'm going to show you that right now. There's the list for Los Angeles. Now, if you can really look at that book, it's bigger than the phone book in Vancouver. That's right. And I got the list today for Los Angeles for the next time. Today, that same list They don't make the book anymore. You have to download it on PDF. It had over 200 pages, over 2,000 properties available at the next auction. I'll tell you more about that in a few minutes. Folks, this is the real deal. Every one of you could be buying property. Read the bottom of the screen. Sold for back taxes. How many do you want? I'm going to tell you they have leftovers at every auction. They can't sell them all because there's not enough people going there to those auctions. Okay, so what have we talked about? We've talked about tax lien certificates, able to make big profits. Now we're talking about tax deeds. Folks, you decide which one you want. You want very conservative investment? Talk about the tax liens. You want to be an entrepreneur and go for the gold? Then you can start looking at what we're doing here. All right, now this is a picture of what that newspaper looked like. I just showed you the newspaper. Everything in the newspaper that when they're selling tax lien certificates, every property, like on the left, has a number. Like they call it assessor's parcel number, an ID number. Just like you have a social number, every property has a number. So let's look at the first one. It says 3844-207. Taxes due was $4,000. Okay, and it gives the property value. If that was a tax lien certificate and you paid $4,000, they didn't pay you, what would you get? Well, you get the $400,000. All right, well, let's go down the list here. Let's add this up. Let's do number one was $12,000, number two was $4,000, then we got another $5,000. So $25,000 is what we invest. What if we never got paid? Well, look on the right-hand corner. What would you rather have? Would you rather have your $25,000, or would you rather have $2.5 million? I'm choking on it so big. $2.5 million. See, it's up to you. I mean, this is the real deal. This has been working for over 200 years, and now you understand why. So I'm giving you the foundation. Now I'm starting to teach you how to do it. Pretty quick, I'm going to show you Canadians that are making the kind of money that you want to make. Yes, the kind of money you want to make. You came on here because you want to make money. I'm the guy that teaches people how to do that. All right, now we're going to start seeing some people that did it. Okay, and we're going to start small, and then we're going to grow up to the big boys so you can see the whole thing. Now, earlier I said I was going to add this to the course material. This is I call this a speed learning system. Why? Because you can take those DVDs out, put them in a computer, and you'll have a video coach showing you how to do it. The next woman you're going to see is Marilyn. She was a stock market investor, but she got sick of the up and down and up and down. So let's see what happened to her.
Stocks are volatile. I've lost money in them before. With Ted's program, it's an online program. You buy everything online. I got 48, averaging 8-9%. Some of them are earning 18%. It's an awesome program. It's a safe, secure way to earn a whole lot better interest rate than the banks are giving you at a 0.5 or a 1%. The little guy can do it. You can have a couple of $1,000 and invest. Most of the liens that I purchased were a couple $100, under $1,000. So it's a secure program. I wish I had known this years ago.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of you that wish you had known this years ago. Now, the next woman we're going to see, she lives in the state of North Carolina. Now, you guys wouldn't know that because it's on the east coast of the United States, but she lives in North Carolina. And the only reason I'm telling you that is in North Carolina, that state sells tax deeds. Remember, half sell tax liens, half sell tax deed. Sells tax deed. So she wanted to buy my program. And I said, well, why don't you just get it? She said, I just have tax deeds. I don't want any property. She said, I don't want any toilets, trash, tenants. I don't want any of that stuff to be fixing up. She said, I just want to do tax liens. I said, then buy the program. We'll show you how to do it online, and then you can buy anywhere in the states that sell tax liens. So she's just like, you're in British Columbia watching me right now. She's just like you. You could be doing what she's doing. Let's see what you did.
I've chosen this as my retirement investment venue. I'm tired of watching stock portfolios and mutual funds go up and down and up and down. So I got online and looked in a lot of different counties to see who paid the highest interest rate, who had the easiest system to actually buy certificates. So I've found this amazing vehicle through Ted's system where you can buy something that's very high return, 18% in my case, and higher, 36% in some cases. The first tax liens I bought 3 of them for $2,273. I wanted to try it, just see if it was something that was safe and would pay off. I got those certificates in the mail, put them in my drawer, and waited. Next thing I know, months later, I got a check in the mail for $3,159. That was an 18% annual return on my money. It's an amazing world that's opened up to me with this system. And the main thing is I've taken control of it, and I found something very safe with a high return. And I'm going to have enough money for retirement now. I feel confident about that.
Well, and you want to feel confident about your retirement too. Folks, this is a system that's worked for 200 years. You need to learn it. It's in your best interest to learn how to do this. Okay, so let's do a quick review. If you buy a tax certificate, what happens if the property owner doesn't pay? So read it along with me. You get the property free and clear of all liens and encumbrances. Would that be good? Well, of course it would. You get the mortgage is wiped out. Now, you don't have to worry about those mortgages. That's not your problem. The local government wipes the mortgage out. It's done. It's the law. You don't have to worry about it. You get the property without a mortgage, okay? I'm not making it up. It's been going on for 200 years. Now, look at this bottom one. You'll end up with real estate for 3 to 10 cents on the dollar. Now, be fair with yourself. How many pieces of property do you think you're going to buy in Alberta or British Columbia or any one of the provinces for 3 to 10 cents on the dollar? Well, you could be doing it in the States. It is perfectly legal. And believe me, those counties would welcome your money. We teach this class in Singapore. We teach it in Australia. We teach it in London. Man, all they care about is bring the money and pay those taxes. That's all they want. And you guys, every one of you that's watching and listening right now, could be doing exactly what we're talking about. All right, let me give you 4 quick steps so you have guaranteed checks from the government, okay? Write these down so that you get the foundational material. I'm mixing it in with the people that are doing it now, so we're reinforcing it to make sure that you guys get it. Okay, step number 1, you always get the list. You remember all those lists I showed you, like that big list from Los Angeles? Well, I'm going to talk a lot more about that in a few minutes, okay? Get the list. Okay, then the next thing you do is you go to the auction. Now, you can do that online. We can teach you online or offline. So if you want to sit at home and you're rusty-dusty, I'll show you people doing that in a few minutes. You'll be able to do that. Okay, you can go to the auction and bid if you want. Either way, whichever way, you can do it at home and bid or go to the auction and bid. Okay, next thing you do is sit like the guy next to the pool. If you don't have a pool, we'll come down here to Florida. We'll let you use one of the pools here. All right, so what you want to do is you want to sit there and wait. And then the final thing to do is the most difficult one of all, and that's cash those government checks. That's all there is to tax certificates. Anybody's told you any more than that, they're just trying to confuse you and whatever. This is a simple business. It wouldn't have lasted 200 years if it wasn't simple. Believe me, a system that's been around for 200 years has to work for the public, it has to work for the government, otherwise it would never have lasted. All right, so I call that a passive investment. Write that on your paper. Passive investment. Now let's learn about an active investment. Now, tax deeds are active. Now, this is the entrepreneurial kind of people. We're going to teach you how to do that before the night's out, too. So you can buy properties just like you saw Joan and Peter doing. They are actually buying property, but they like to go to the auction, which is okay. But first, they get the list. Remember, they had those brochures? So they had a list. Okay, next thing they did is they evaluated the property. Now, we're going to show you how to evaluate using tablets. Okay, I'm going to hold one up in front of my face. We've got tablets like this. Let me see if I can move it over. There it is. A little Dell tablet. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do that in a little bit. And you can evaluate these properties sitting at home. I'm going to show you all the systems that we put in place. So we not only have the tools, but we got systems so you guys can be successful where you are now. I don't know where you are right now, but wherever you are, we can make you successful there. Okay, then you're going to bid at the auction. You can do that from where you're sitting right now. Okay, and then finally, it's up to you to sell the property. Now, how are you going to sell it? Well, you're going to use that system I use. Remember, I buy it low, and then I sell it low. Buy it low and sell it low. Believe me, if that woman that had a $175,000 property, if she's willing to sell it for $62,000, you know it's going to go out the door fast. And how did she make out? $50,000. How was your last month? Well, $50,000 is pretty darn good. All right, so let's continue on. Oh, let's do a quick review. I forgot about that. All right, so learning tools, you're going to have guidebooks, directories, you're going to have CDs, and you're going to have DVDs. Then I told you over here on the right side of the slide, I told you about that accelerated learning system, so you can learn online. That's terrific. But what I haven't had a chance to tell you enough about is that this question and answer hotline. It's important that you understand that because I teach a lot in the provinces for the last 13 years, and I know what everybody's worried about. Remember, those guys come up from the States, they teach us stuff, and then, oh, hell, they just dump us. We don't do that. We've been doing this for 13 years, and we know what you guys need. And so we know that if we open up a question and answer hotline, and that's what we do every Wednesday night, Coach Crystal's there. She's been doing this for 10 years with me. You guys can ask all your questions. Every week you got someone for 1 year, and I'm going to give you that certificate. That certificate there, I'm going to give it to you. It's an $1,800 value. And then I showed you over here on the left side, I call it that retirement, a gift from Uncle Sam. Okay, well, if you start a retirement account here, you can put all your investments in that and not have to pay taxes until you take the money out. All right, so let's continue on. All right, now this is Karen. This is time to write some examples down so that you get it. She's going to give you a lot of information in about a minute. She's going to tell you about the auction. She's going to tell you how many properties are there, which shocks people. Then the 3 things I want you to write down is what she pays, what it's worth, and what she rents it for. Okay, so that's what I want you to write down. What she pays, what it's worth, what she rents it for. But listen to what she said. This is an educational video, and you want to make sure you get what she says.
There are tons and tons of tax deed properties available here in the area that I live. I mean, every month we probably go to the tax deed sales, and there's anywhere from 110 to 140 properties that they're putting up the tax deeds for sale, and that's exactly how I got this one right here behind me. I bought this for the tax deed for $11,000, ended up owning the property. I'm going to rent it out for $750 a month, so I'll have it completely paid off inside of 15 months. Even though somebody's already offered me $40,000 to buy it, I'm going to keep it as a rental property because I know in 3-4 years this house is going to be worth $80,000. And I like the sort of the sounds of $80,000 versus $40,000 in terms of my retirement.
Okay, so let's talk about her for a second, okay? So how much did she purchase it for? $11,000, we've got that. Okay, but what was it worth? Well, you heard her say 2 numbers. The one she had a real offer on was the real number, so it was $40,000. So think about that. She paid about 25%, 25 cents on the dollar. What's wrong with that? But let's go back a step. She said she went to the auction about every month, and there was how many properties? Well, if you don't remember, it was about 110 to 140 properties. Well, think about that. How many would you want? See, the beauty of the business is they're never going to run out. This has been going on for 200 years. So you can go get one. If you just did one and you bought it for 25 cents on the dollar, how bad would that be? But let's do this from a return on investment, like the accountant would want to do it. Let's see what her return on investment is. So look at the slide. It says she invested $11,000 and she's going to get $9,000 in rent. Well, I'd make that investment every day of the week. If I can put $11,000 up and get $9,000 income, that's a terrific investment. So what is her ROI? Well, if you're not an accountant, you didn't know, I'm just going to put it up there. There's her annual ROI. How is that? Pretty good? Well, are you going to do that in British Columbia? I don't think so. It's going to be pretty hard to do. And the reason you can't do it is because the banks make all the money in British Columbia and Alberta. Why? Because they got all those mortgages. These properties don't have mortgage. When you buy a property without a mortgage, it's what you see on the screen right now. How many of those do you have to do in your life to be happy? I don't know, but let's see what she did. If she holds on to it, how's she going to do? Just read the slide. Those are big bucks, folks. Those are big bucks. She could hold on to that property. She doesn't have to sell it. If she sold it, she'd have herself $40,000. Well, I'd make that investment all day long, and I'm sure you would too. Okay, now we're going to take you online. Okay, now this is in my membership site, so I'm going to try to give you kind of a hint at what we're looking at. You can see all the states there, and I'm going to show you this in a little different form in a minute. So we have all the states in the website, and you can go online and go to these states and be able to find out how many tax properties are in each one of them. So we have a membership site that we put people into. The first 60 days of it are absolutely free. But let's see what would happen if you went into that membership site. So I'm going to click the slide and move it forward. If you went into the membership site, you could find in any state how many properties were available. We're able to go to any state in any county in the state. Okay, so let's go there and do it, and you'll see it happen.
Coming very soon to Ted.Thomas's members area is the ability to quickly locate and download upcoming auction lists. This is by far one of the most requested features, and Ted's come through. So right now we're wrapping up the final version of it, and it will be live very soon. As we're looking at right now is a map. This is Ted's interactive map. We can hover over each state, and you'll get a detailed overview of what each state offers, and I'll go through this very quickly for you. So for example, I'm hovering over the state of California. Lets us know what type of sales they have, whether it's tax lien certificates or tax deeds, as you can see that towards the top. Frequency, how often they have sales. This is on average every month there's sales. Dates, when the majority of the sales are held, in this case May through June. Interest rate, if there's a penalty, redemption period, and what type of bidding method. Now, if you have questions regarding that, not to worry. You're going to learn everything in this program. So what I'm going to do is take you through this just over the next 30 to 45 seconds and show you exactly what you're able to do, how much time it's going to save you, and all the benefits of this new interactive map feature. So as I'm hovering over California, I'm just going to go ahead and click that. And up pops a list of upcoming auctions. Okay, and as you can see right here, we have available tax sale lists, All right, and this is just an example, so I wanted to show you for example reasons. For example, right here at the top, you can see Merced County. Okay, we have the type is a deed. It's an online sale, so we're going to tell you if the sale's online or if it's offline. If it's online, you have the ability to bid from the comfort of your home, and you'll see in Ted's program you're able to do most, if not all, of your research, your property research, right online, directly from the comfort of your own home. So this is an online sale. And what you can do through this new interactive map feature is simply come over here, and you can see where my mouse is. There's a download option. Okay, just to the left of the download option, it shows the count. That's currently how many properties are on the list of the upcoming auction. So you're able to research. It's 129. So we can go ahead and download this entire list. So you can see how much time this saves you. We have lists and lists for every single state. There's all the lists for the upcoming auctions. So again, one of the most requested features, I'm going to show you a quick example of what happens when you click that download button. So we're going to go ahead and click it. And we downloaded. I had it up just to save a little bit of time, but you can see this is the actual auction list, okay? And this is directly from the county or the online area, whether it's a website or what have you that's holding the auction. So we can come right here. We have auction ID, APN, which stands for Assessor's Parcel Number. Not to worry, you'll learn all about that if you're not familiar with it. We have a physical property address, very important to get. This takes you directly to the physical property address, so now you can start researching property. And here's the physical address of all the properties, well, most of them. Some of them may not have an address, which Ted will cover in his material, and how to take advantage of those situations. Property address, and we have the city, what city it's located in, minimum bid, okay? Some of these for as low as just a couple of $1,000s. Take advantage of the interactive map feature. Go ahead and start with a state. Look up when the auctions are coming. Go ahead and click on it. You get taken directly to the list of upcoming auctions, and you can simply download them, review them, and it saves so much time. Again, one of the most requested features. We're currently, again, working on the final version, and we'll have it live shortly.
Okay, so we're going to launch all that in about another 2 to 3 weeks. Now, the membership site is absolutely free for 60 days when you cut, but the lists are not free. You have to purchase the list because we have to pay the vendor that gets that material to us. So usually about $35 for a list. All those lists used to cost $200, $300 if you went to the county to get it. There's no way now you're going to be able to get that stuff for like $35 every time you want a list. Think about that. We used to have to fly all the way to Phoenix, get what we wanted, and then go out and roam around. You can do all that with a click of a few buttons. Okay, so let's continue on with our learning process. I want to give you a little insight into who do you want to learn this from. So I'm going to show you a process right now that we can get you. We can not only take you to the site, and I'll show you the learning tools that are available. Now this is what I call a platinum directory. This directory, I'm going to show you what's going to happen if you add one of these directories. You'll notice in just a minute that what will happen with this, it'll start moving. And if you got into the directory, you can go. I have directories which I'm going to provide you with for every single county in the United States. So I can take you manually. A few seconds ago, we showed you how to do it. We're going to show you in a membership site how to do it electronically. Now I can go to any state in the United States, and I can, once I get to the state, then I can go to the county. Once I get to the county, I can go to every property. And I'm going to show you how someone used this, and then you'll get an idea of how valuable it is. Now this is a powerful way to be able to do things. It took all the difficult research out of the picture because you have no more travel to do. All right, so this is Bob Schumacher. Now, Bob has been with me for 13 years, and he's one of the visiting professors, one of the teachers when I teach in British Columbia this year. When I'm in Vancouver in September, he'll be one of the people teaching with me. He learned from me 13 years ago. But I'm going to show you the kind of thing he learned he's going to teach you how to do, too, if you want to learn how to do it. This is a lakefront residential lot. But you see, Bob had that directory. Let me show you. He had this. He's sitting at home, and so he can then check out every property that's coming up for auction before he leaves home. So he finds out that this property is coming up for auction. Now this is a lakefront lot in the mountains. Okay, it's a bass lake. It's all stocked with bass. Okay, so he finds out because he can go into the county records. He finds out the value of the property. Now we know the property is not going to sell for its value. It's going to sell for back taxes. So he said, gee, I think I'll go buy that because people really want to buy these kind of lots. So sure enough, he went to the auction, but there was another bidder there. So the other bidder, and they went back and forth and back and forth, but he ended up buying the property for $3,700. So that kind of fits in with what I teach. I say buy it low and then sell it low. So he's not going to try and sell that for the $3,900. He's going to put an ad on Craigslist, in eBay, and in the local paper for a lot less than that. So he put an ad in the paper that had a lakefront lot with a value of $39,000, and he would sell it for $24,000, which is exactly what he did. So he paid $37,000, and it was, and he sold it for $24,000. So there you go. He made himself a $20,000 profit. $20,000, all because he knew how to do it. He could appraise the property without doing anything. How much risk? Look at the slide. How much risk did he have on that lakefront lot? So you see what I said about getting out of the risk business? So he bought it low, and then he sold it so the next guy would buy it quickly. That sale took place in 30 days. Well, while he was on that lot, I said to him, Bob, I was making a video of this. I said, Bob, is this the best deal you've ever made? And I want you to listen to what his answer was.
I'd have to say that the best dollar-for-dollar deal I've ever done on a piece of land, it happened in Oklahoma. I went out to an outlying county and I bought a tax lien. The tax lien was on a 25-acre piece of land. The tax lien was only $67.12. You'd think that nobody would ever abandon a piece of land for that small of a tax bill, but things like that do happen. And guess what? Those people never did pay that tax. They never redeemed that tax lien, and I ended up getting the tax deed to that property. I eventually sold that piece of land for $22,500. It's not uncommon to make $10,000 or $20,000 off of a deal.
So just ask yourself, would that work for you? Then you know whether it's in your best interest or not. You can figure it out. Okay, let's go to Edmonton. This young man started out with me when he was 19.
I first heard about Ted's system from a good friend of mine. He called me while he was at work and told me about it, and I was skeptical, but I was pretty anxious to find something that I could go do to finally make some money. I was a high school dropout. I was 19 years old. I didn't have any other plans with my life, so I thought, what the heck, let's go check it out. And we went to the event. We were amazed by it, and 3 days later, we went to Washington State and purchased a 40-acre parcel of land for $4,200 on the Okanagan Valley overlooking lakes, and later we sold that for over $20,000, which to me was just amazing to make that much money with such little effort. And from there we continued and we purchased in 11 states. For example, when I went to Texas with my partners, we purchased a deed for $6,000. And we knew going into that property was worth over $100,000. We weren't sure exactly how much, but we knew it was worth at least $100,000, and it turned out to be worth $123,000. So right there, we had a built-in equity of conservatively $100,000, but potentially a lot more, and something that we could rent out immediately because it was a beautiful single-family home. It was a brick home. The alarm was on when we first went in the house. I mean, it was ready to move in, which to me was really the proof in the pudding that his system works and helps you buy properties for pennies on the dollar.
As I told you, I teach this class in Toronto also, and this woman is 83 years old. Hi, everyone. We're sitting in Toronto, Canada, and I'm speaking with
Dorothea Gardner, and I'm from Toronto, Canada. And I took Ted's course 4 years ago, but I started with $30,000, and I made that into $130,000.
Wow, congratulations. Was it surprising to you to see how low some of the properties could be purchased? Were you surprised when you first saw that?
Oh, everybody is. That's what shocks them. They're absolutely shocked that if they had $2,000, they might be able to get a property worth $70,000 in the States. The American prices are lower than the Canadian prices, which shocks people in the first place.
Right, right.
But if they buy a deed for a few thousand, $5,000, $6,000, they may get that house worth $70,000 or $80,000.
Fantastic.
And
you don't have to do too many deals like that to be pretty happy. Yeah. I find it concerning sometimes when I'm talking to people after summer. They say, "Oh, I'm a Canadian. I don't know if they'll like us in the United States and all that." I mean, did you get a good reception from the people there? Was it okay? Or
No problem at all. You just go in to any of the offices there. We never had a problem. You ask for the information, they give it to you, and they're most helpful.
All right, that's true. That's me, folks. I'm pushing the wrong button. Sorry. Okay, you all should raise your hand now that would like to learn that, so Dave can see you raise your hand. And as soon as those hands go up, I'm going to take you on a nice journey. And I need you to write a few things down, just a few small things. All of the people that you're about to see will surprise you.
Well, I don't know if they heard the question there, Ted, because I only see a few hands going up, so that means they didn't understand the question. You might have to read it out for them.
Okay, good. Okay, what I'd like you folks to do, if you'd like to learn this process, just raise your hand right now, and I'm going to show you. A group of Canadians that did this online from their home.
Yeah, so go ahead and just click on the little hand thing and go to it now. We got it. There we go. So we got Man, Naomi, Paul, Rick, Roy, Sean,
wow.
JJ,
Okay,
Deb,
okay, good.
Barb, Adam. Everybody else either wasn't listening or didn't understand the question or couldn't find the little hand thing. So
okay, all right, good. All right, here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to understand that everybody I'm going to show you now lives in the province. Everybody graduated from my last year's class. So we're just going to talk about last year's class, and every one of them did this from their home. So we're going to start out, and we're going to go through this quicker than I'd like to, but I'm going to go fast so I don't use up all your time tonight. Okay, you already learned we want to buy low and sell low. That's important. We also learned we always want to use the government assessed value when we go to sell because that's a trusted source. But I'm going to show you 4 other sources before we finish. Okay, then I always want to use eBay and Craigslist to get rid of the property quickly. And then finally, I'm going to show you how to use a tablet to locate all the bargains and so on. Okay, now this is Deborah. Okay, she lives in Kelowna. Okay, now she did this all online. Now this is a delightful story. I wish I could give you the whole hour because it's one of the best interviews I have done in years. Now this is done at her home, and here's what she did. She learned from us last year. She was in last August class. Okay, then she went home and she started practicing. We did the things we told her to. Whatever someone here in the office told her or a coach told her or whatever, she did exactly what she was told, and she followed along. She really was very, very diligent about what she did. And she bought a property. You can see it shows she lives in British Columbia. She bought in Florida. Okay, now she never left British Columbia and she bought the property. So we showed her how to communicate with people in Florida, have the property checked over before she bought. Now she was a little hesitant. She was a little timid, but her husband gave her the permission to be the one to, not the breadwinner, but the one to take care of the retirement program, and that's what she did. Now, I'm only going to show you 1 minute of the 1 hour video, and then we're going to discuss it a little bit. This is a fantastic case study. She just did it from her home. She never left home.
My name's Deb Murphy, and we're up here in Kelowna, British Columbia. We just purchased this first property in January of this year. So it is in Florida, and there's the front of the property. We got it at a super price. It was like, I knew the price is what they were going for. So the area was selling very well, and we got it for less than half. We got it, I'd say, about 35 cents on the dollar, which is awesome for Florida. So we bought it for $24,600. And then what you get in the mail is you actually get the tax deed itself, straight from the county, and I'll sell it quickly for $50,000. That'd be a quick sale. I could possibly even get $55,000, $60,000. I chose this particular property because the lot itself that's situated in the park has a waterway, and it's an extra double lot. These are manufactured homes. It's an area where people come to holiday, so they own their real houses somewhere in the States or in Canada. Lots of Canadians go down into Florida. So these manufactured homes, they're very nice, and they're perfect for vacation homes. I love Ted for the fact that he's book smart and he's street smart. And he's not afraid to say, like I'd said, before you buy a property, you have to know what your exit strategy is, and you have to know that it's workable, not just a fairy tale. Can you really sell it? And can you really rent it? So he's very strong on making you tell yourself the truth. That's worth its weight in gold.
Okay, now here's a person that she'd never seen the property, and she decided after a few weeks when it started cooling off in British Columbia, she'd go there and take a look. So she did. And when she got there, she had the key to the property. This is the beautiful part of the story, because what she did at that point in time is she opened the door, and here was a fully furnished mobile home. So her and her husband took a couple of hours, cleaned it up. They drove to Walmart, bought some sheets, and stayed there for 2 weeks. Now, the beauty of the whole thing is that guess who helped pay for that whole trip down and back? Because it's an investment property, Revenue Canada allows her to deduct a lot of that trip headed down there. When she was there, she got knock on the door while she was staying, and she intended to sell it, but so many people wanted to rent it that she rented it for $850 a month. Now, she could have sold it. You heard her say she paid $24,000. She could sell it for $50,000. That's a nice profit, $25,000. She did the whole thing online. She could have done that. But look at her return on investment. It's the same thing we talked about earlier. Look at the return on investment. Now, if she keeps it a year, she gets capital gains treatment. I'm not going to go into tax law and all that because we don't have time, but look at the investment she made. This is a small investment, going to make big money. She's going to be able to do this again and again and again, and she didn't have to leave Canada. She decided to leave because she wanted to come and look at Florida and look at the property, but she didn't have to. She could have just sold it. All right, let's go on. This is Joe. Joe also lives in British Columbia, and he is a professional real estate person. Now, when he came to my class, I was a little nervous. I thought, you know, is he just going to critique everything we have to say? Because I say things like buy low and sell low. Real estate people always say, you know, buy it and get a higher price. Look at the prices in British Columbia. They're over the top. They're so high. And I say, no, buy it low and sell it low. Get your profits and move on. Well, he loved that system. And so here's what he has to say.
My name is Joe Ricards. I live in Kelowna, BC. I do creative real estate in Canada. I've been doing that for 20 years. I've purchased about $200,000 worth of other real estate courses over the span of about 7 to 10 years, looking for the next big thing in real estate investing, looking for something better than I was doing in Canada. Well, TEDS is one of the only systems I would say, especially as a Canadian, that he was very upfront that, okay, if you're going to do this, you're going to need to do it down in the States, as opposed to the U.S. gurus coming up to Canada and saying, oh yeah, this works up here too. I found that not to be the case. So it was refreshing to know that what I'm getting is what I'm getting with TED. From TED's course, then I participated in the Pinellas County auction online and bought a property at my second auction in Clearwater Beach, in actually an area called Island Estates, which is
wow, look at that. Look at that.
Net, it's about a 40K profit flip. So that was my first deal.
Okay, so you can be assured that that guy's going to do a lot of those because he now knows how to do it online, and there's just so many properties he can just keep doing it. So I don't know how much you made last month, but he did pretty well over a 90-day period. So let me quickly go through it. Should you again know how many different learning tools that we have to teach you? There's many learning tools, but I want to go to a Surrey man in just a minute, and who invested $83,000 and he bought over $1 million worth of property. But before I do that, I'm going to show you just a couple of more things that are very important to all of you. Okay, number one, if you get involved in these programs, I want you to be happy. If you get the program, it has a 60-day full warranty guarantee. So it's that simple. If you don't like it after 60 days, you're not sure you can do it, you have anything that ruffles your feathers, you don't like it, give it back to us. But meanwhile, you can get on our coaching call once a week. You can get into our systems to learn how to do this online. You can do all that. There's much more than what I can tell you tonight. I can't give you everything I know in an hour and 30-minute presentation, but I can tell you there's a lot of powerful stuff here. Okay, so I'm going to make you an offer right now that's going to surprise all of you. That's me. I pushed the wrong button, okay? Everything okay on the internet. Okay, so what's the best way for me to make money? Well, the best way for me to make money is find some of you out there that are Dave's clients that would like to do some deals, because I'm always looking for people that do deals. When I say do deals, I'm looking for people that would like to learn the materials that we're talking about tonight, learn how to do this. And once you learn how to do it, if you'll go to an auction and raise your hand, I'll give you the money before you go, and you can use my money to buy. Now, why on earth would you want to do that? Because there's no risk if you use Ted.Thomas's money, that's for sure. But even better than that, I'll split the profits with you 50-50. So if you're interested in that kind of program, I'm definitely interested in that. So I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to explain that. So I'm looking for people that want to be finders because I'll be the funder. I'm not finished by any means tonight, but I'm going to go quickly through that. because if you'd like to use my money to do a deal, I'd love to do a deal with you because I'm always looking for people that will learn the program. Now, that requires a small investment in money and a small investment in time. There is no free ride. You know that. I wouldn't do that as a free ride. As a matter of fact, years ago, I did give people a free ride. Nobody ever did anything. The people that invest money go out and do things. So I'm looking for people that want to do something like that. So let me explain right now. Just take me a minute to do it. If we did a deal together, I'm looking for people that will invest in the program and invest in time to do this. Then once they learn it, I'd like them to go to an auction and raise their hand. I'd like to buy the properties for 10 cents on the dollar, maximum of 20. I will not bid over 20 cents on the dollar. And then what we'll do is we'll sell that property. Now, we're not going to lease option it. We're not going to rent it. We're not going to fix it. We're going to sell the property. When we sell the property, the first thing we'll do is we'll pay back Ted.Thomas. Now, once Ted's paid back, then what we'll do is split 50-50, just like the slide says. Now, follow me along, and I'm just going to go through that right now. It takes me 1 minute to do it. If you want to be one of those investors, I would love to have you. Now, I can't take everybody, but I can take a few people. All right, so let's take a look at this. All right, who puts up the money? Ted puts up the money, so you have no risk. So let's say we had a mythical property worth $100,000. Okay, we get it for 10 cents on the dollar. Well, what we want to do is we want to sell it. So let's sell that baby, okay? We don't want to hold on to it. I want to sell it, okay? So we know the price is a little soft in the States. They're not really strong. So we want to sell it for less than the $100,000 value. So let's sell it for 75. Now, I don't know how good you are at being a salesperson, so let's hire a broker for the first one. Now, on our membership site, we have lots of sales material and lots more coming on in the next 60 days. So you could do it you sell it yourself. However, I'm going to ask you to get a broker for the first one. So let's pay the broker. And so now look at the math, okay? What we did is we start out with 75,000, all right? What I'm trying to do is go all the way to the bottom line here, because when we get to the bottom line, we're going to split that 50-50. So let's pay the broker. Now, I don't want to fix it up. I just want to clean it up. I said I just want to clean it up. So let's clean it up. So I'm taking out for cleanup. Now, we all know every time you do a real estate deal, there's always an attorney getting involved. So the attorney, legal man, is somehow going to get in the deal. So let's take a little bit for the attorney, make sure to take care of that. Now, let's go to the top of the slide. And how much did we invest? Well, Ted invested $10,000, and my agreement with you is going to say, if we make a deal, first person paid back is Ted, and then we split. So now let's split the 50-50. All right, so now let's take a look. All right, so 55,000 left over. So here's the toughest question for tonight. Toughest question right now, here it comes. Toughest question is this, and that question is this. Which side do you want? Do you want the left side or do you want the right side? Yeah, I know. You guys are looking at it and say you want the whole thing. But if you want the whole thing on the first one, I'll do that, but I'll get all the money on the second one. So there it is. Now, what kind of money do you make on this deal? Now, if you followed me along and you've been with me all this time and you followed me along, you can see that was quite a bit of money and you didn't have much risk. So what kind of return on investment do you have? Well, there it is, over 1,000%. Now, I'll make that deal with anybody that's on this webinar tonight. But let's go back and figure out why would Ted.Thomas do a deal when he doesn't know the 20 or 30 people that are on the call. I don't know you, but why would I do that deal? Well, let's go back and look. How much did Ted invest? First of all, he invested $10,000. On the bottom of the screen, you see he got his $10,000 back, and then he got $27,000. So your investment is, you get 100% return. Look at mine. So I can make that much money. So I'm always looking for people that do that. Why would I do that deal? Because I'm always looking for investors. I multiply myself every time I teach someone and they become an investor. Usually people do 2 or 3 deals with me. Those are 2 or 3 deals that I never get a chance to make. All right, so look at the value. Look at the value that you're going to get tonight. That's huge, absolutely huge value. Yet I froze the price. I absolutely froze the price. All right, now I want to make sure that everybody realizes how many different materials they're going to get tonight. Because this is a full program. We're going to give you all the tools you need, all the systems you need, and all the backup that you need so that you can be successful. So we talked about on the left there, you can see guidebooks, directories, and there's also going to be manuals in there. On the right, on the top of the screen, that's the hand-holding and deal-making. And we really do give you the hand-holding. And if you just drop down to the right-hand side of that slide, you can see the question-answer hotline. Coach Crystal's been teaching this for over 10 years and helping people. She's not only a coach, but she does the Wednesday night question and answer hotline. In addition to that, we're going to show you how to have a tax-free account in the state. So all of that material comes to quite a bit of money. So now let's take a look. I don't know which lifestyle you want there, but any one of those that you want, we can provide that with this course. You can have, you want new cars, you can earn that. You want to have good retirement, you can have that. You want vacations, everything that's there, we can help you get. So this is last year's tour. Okay, Deborah, she had a 40% return. Kelly's going to make over 100,000. Joe, we already talked about him. We already talked about Joan and Peter. Let's just take a minute and talk about two more people as I close it up. Now this is Renee. Now Renee, he went to the Vancouver class, and every break he asked me the same question. He said, Ted, if I go to this Vancouver class and I finish it, where am I going to go next? And so every break he asked me the same question. I said, why don't you go to Los Angeles and buy properties there? There will be hundreds and hundreds of properties there. He said, okay, and he went to Los Angeles. This is what he has to say.
My name is Renee. I now live in Vancouver.
So you looked at 100 properties and you bought 5. Have I got the numbers?
Yep.
Okay. Now, how much money did you invest in that?
Just over 83,000.
83,000. Okay. All right. What was the value of those 5 properties according to the tax detector?
1.1 million.
Wow. A little homework goes a long way, doesn't it?
It does. But what's most important is to follow the TED system, step by step, what the coaches tell you and what the people tell you. But when you take a new system, start by knowing the system. Don't try and be creative until you've mastered the system. And his system, fantastic. That's why I master it.
Okay. Now, let's look at what Renee did. This is absolutely fantastic. Now, for all of you that are listening from British Columbia, you'll want to be at the Vancouver event, okay? And I'm going to give you a ticket to come to that event before we're done tonight. Okay. This guy really did his homework. He formed a little team, did his homework. Now, look at the tax assessed values, okay? I showed you that big Los Angeles book. I gave him that book. He did everything right from that book, okay? He purchased for 8 cents on the dollar. He bought a property in Malibu. Malibu is where all the movie stars live. Now, you guys probably have never met him, but you'll get a chance to meet him in Vancouver. And the reason I tell you that is because he was at our last event that I did in Edmonton, which is about 3 weeks ago now. I did an event there, and he got up on the platform and he talked to everybody. So now we're going to have him be a visiting professor. He's going to teach 3 different classes when he's there. You'll get a chance to meet him. This is the real deal. And I haven't even had a chance to tell you about what he did in Washington State. Selling the properties on eBay. Now look at the value, $1,000,001. He sells for $330,000. Now he's going to get more money than what's here, but I needed to give you an example tonight because all of these properties are in contract to sale. He started last September in the class, the same class I'm teaching this year. This guy started last year. Take a look at that. Folks, it doesn't get any better than that. He's going to be one of our visiting professors in the Vancouver class. If you missed that class, you'll have missed on how to make a whole bunch of money, believe me. Okay, I told you about Coach Crystal. All right, so now I'm going to kind of button it up and give you a little bit more information as I button it up, but it's time for that. Now, this is a game changer. We tested this in Alberta last year, and this was shocking for us to see how well this worked. Okay, so what if you could access every single property in the United States, and then you could appraise and assess them? Now, it's difficult for me to show you. I'm going to show you a picture of it first, but this changed the ball game for anybody that's in the Canadian provinces, okay? That's a tablet. I'm actually holding one in my hands, okay? Okay, same tablet. You're kind of getting the idea? All right. So that tablet, we buy those from Dell, and then we put the applications on that. Watch what I'm going to do with this tablet. You could sit in your living room and do exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm just going to show you the step-by-step process. And if you go to auctions, you can put all your auction properties right here on this tablet so you can see exactly what you're bidding on. You can take them off the internet, put the pictures right here, and sit in the auction room with nobody else knowing what they're doing. Nobody else has this tablet. Absolutely nobody else. Okay, this guy used the tablet. Let's see how he did. Now he's in Saskatchewan, and he bought online. He's at the same desk he's sitting at. He bought online, and he bought in Riverside, California. Now, this is staggering, even for me, and I've been doing it for 20 years. He's in Saskatchewan. He's going to buy a property in Riverside, California. Now, Riverside, California is a county just east of Los Angeles. Okay, it's just coming in about 60 miles from Los Angeles. Let's hear his story, and then I'll show you how he did it.
I believe it was in this last November where they were advertising Ted's online courses. I jumped on it right away and got signed up. I attended approximately six online tax deed and tax lien sales in Washington, California, Arizona. I ended up purchasing one piece of property for $35,300, and it's assessed at $229,716. I've been searching for something to do after I retire from my day job, and this would fit in perfectly because I can do this from anywhere. I can do it from my house in Regina. I can do it online pretty much anywhere that I am. If I find deals like this, I could do this 3 times a year, or I could do it 2 times a year, and I'd be done. That would be my year's salary.
Well, you heard him say it, do it 2 times a year. All right, let's look at the deal. $35,000 he invested. Now, the desk he was sitting at is where he did the deal. He did the deal from that desk. The property value, $229,000. He paid 15 cents on the dollar. Folks, how good is that? If he sells it for 50 cents on the dollar, he'll make himself a 300% profit. Folks, there isn't any other business you could do that. Now, I can't sell you these properties, so you just have to learn how to do this. Once you learn how to do it, and go to some of these free classes that we do in our membership site, every one of you can be doing the same thing. All right, so here's what he did. He used the directories that we taught. Okay, now remember, everybody's going to have a list. You got to get the lists. All right, we showed you earlier tonight how you can get the list. We got a membership site. You're going to be able to get the list of the property. Then the tablet that I'm talking about now, watch how you can sit at home and appraise property. Okay, now what you guys already know is you know that we can get you to the county. I just, by pushing a button, took you to Miami, which is Dade County. Okay, all right. Now, next I can find a property description. That's how the properties are sold. You got to have a description and address. We're showing you how to do all. We're doing all this online. Now, I'm pushing buttons right now because I made slides because it would take too long if we did it on the internet. It would take you about 10, 15 minutes to do this at home. Okay, now view the property. Everybody that's watching right now knows exactly who Google Maps are. Let's just take it to a higher level than that. We're going to take it to a higher level using the tablet. The tablet I just showed you will have Zillow on there, Trulia, and Realtor.com. Those are all sites for appraising residential property. Those are all sites for residential. LoopNet is for commercial properties. All right, so fastest way to pray. Watch how we're doing a prayer. Look at that. We just go to Trulia, and they'll tell us the exact value. You could sit at home, know what the value was. Now, see, these people knew what the value was before they ever made a bid. If you know what the value is before you make a bid, that's just a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. All right, now we're on Zillow doing the same kind of evaluation. The sites all look different. You have all 4 of them, and you have it all electronically sitting in front of you. Now, talk about case history and being able to do it. Now, this is Realtor.com. Folks, you're sitting at home. You know as much as the real estate people. As a matter of fact, you probably know more than the real estate people because you know how to buy these things at a bargain. So take a look at this. All right, now here's all the things we're going to make sure that you guys get. If you get involved tonight, I already told you I froze my price. This tablet has a $1,995 value. Let me say that again. The tablet has a $1,995 value. I'm going to add that as your first one. In other words, I'm going to give it to all the people that get involved tonight. If you get involved in the program, I froze my price at $1,995, and I'm going to give you this tablet. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to be in Burnaby. All right. I'm going to be there. Let's see the dates. Did I write them on here? They're there. 12, 13, and 14. 12, 13, and 14. And I'm going to give you a ticket to come to that event. Okay. That's a $1,500 value. I'm freezing my price. I left my price at $1,995. And I'm going to give you a special bonus. Now, this is a special. These are Thomas bucks. I only do this for Dave Dubeau. I don't do it for anybody else. I tell other people they're going to have to pay. Okay. I'm going to give you 500 Thomas bucks. Now, what could you use that for? Well, if you want to bring someone else to the event, you could use the $500 to that. Everybody else, I charge them $495 to come. When you get in the room, don't tell anybody you got these. I only do this for Dave Dubeau. He and I have done business for 3 years. He's been good to me. I want to be good to his clients. And there it is. Okay, great suggestion on his part. That's a beautiful, beautiful bonus for all of you guys. All right, I'm not stopping yet. This is a library. This is a library. I don't have this except for 5 people. So the first 5 people that want this tonight, you got to sign up. But this is going to have an expiration date on. Okay. I don't have time because I've already run over by 5 minutes, and I like to stay on time. So I appreciate you guys hanging in there for a minute. These are manuals that are all downloadable, and we'll give you a lot more information. All right, let's see what else. I got a couple of fast action ones. Oh, the Platinum Directory. All right, this directory will give you access to that big manual with all the different counties in the United States. Now, people are going to say, Ted, does that directory get updated? Well, the directory goes directly to the county, and the counties update constantly. So we're going to give you access to every county in the United States with that little thumb drive. Okay. All right. So let's look at all the things. Now look at all that page. Holy Toledo! Look at everything you're going to get. All right. So everything on the top row I've already gone over. So let's go with this bottom row because this is huge for you guys. Absolutely huge. I'm going to give you. I said I'm going to give you as bonus number 1 the tablet, which is a $1,900 value. I'm also going to give you a ticket, 1 ticket. However, if you want to bring someone else, you can use your bonus bucks to do that. And I'm going to give you the library, which contains 3 other books. That's all downloadable. And finally, I'm going to add a $1,500 value, which is the thumb drive, which you can see we're up to all the way up to $10,000. All right, now the reference library, that's only for the first 5 people. Okay, and the thumb drive, that's going to disappear on the 3rd day of next month, so you might want to write that down. So you need to take action. I hope you guys have learned a lot tonight. Here's what you need to do next. Is look at the bottom of the screen. It says www.canadianprofitstaxcertificates.com. So if you'd like to be part of what we're doing, we'd love to have you. I'm sorry I ran a few minutes over, but I've got about 6 hours of material that I jammed into this small conference, so I hope you guys have learned a lot.
We sure have, Ted. Holy smokes, this isn't the first time I've seen your presentation. I still keep picking up stuff. So again, I've sent everybody in the chat box a direct link to that website, so you should be able just to click on that and go directly to it. Fantastic bonuses, Ted. I appreciate you doing something extra special for my folks. I know you just did a tour through BC. I was at the one that you did here in Kamloops. It was great. And this is an even better deal than you gave the folks at the live event. So I appreciate that very, very much. So got a few questions that came in. Are you okay for answering a few questions?
Yeah, let's do that. Absolutely.
Again, just a reminder to anybody, if you've got questions, type them in the question box, and I'll be happy to ask Ted your question on your behalf. So got some questions about the websites and whatnot. Are they updated frequently?
Okay, on the websites, it's going to be up to the county when it comes to anything with the government. Our website is what we call a membership site, and it's constantly being upgraded. What I didn't get a chance to talk about that everybody will get is we have about every other week or every 3rd week we have a Tuesday tutorial, which is where we bring in a special guest. And for example, I think you were once on that call where and we keep it on there so they can go back and get that. But we bring special guests in to talk about, help them with sales, help them with different things. So I haven't talked about that. But everything is constantly being upgraded. We're adding to it all the time.
All right, fantastic. Another question is, what about taxes and what about having to open up an IRA account?
Okay, you never have to open an IRA. I give that as a bonus because I encourage people to not have to pay tax. But the tax with regard to Canadians and U.S., I'm going to oversimplify this. 1, we have a tax treaty between the countries, so I've had that question a lot. There's a tax treaty. You only pay tax in one country, so you can decide which one it's going to be. But for those people that are really serious about this, I only have 2 guests at my event, and one of them is an attorney that practices in the States and practices in British Columbia, and he will explain that in depth at the conference. So on that 3-day conference, he'll explain that in depth, and I'll have that explained again on the website. They can go to the membership site and get that again. But there's only tax in one place.
All right, and then someone asked, when it comes to doing the deal with you, the finder and the funder deal,
Right.
they asked, do we have to do the split, or can we just have the program and do our own thing? So do they have to partner up with you?
I'm getting tired on this end. That's what's happening. I'm leaving things out. They never have to do a deal with me. I do that to encourage some of the little guys to get started. I can tell you, I've been doing this a long time. People rarely do more than 2 deals with me, and then after the second deal, they say, "Well, Ted, goodbye. We'll see you another time," because they want to keep all that money themselves. And I was just scratching my nose. That's all.
Not a problem. And then another question is, how long are you offering this split deal for people? So if somebody invests in your course, how long are you willing to split deals with them?
I'll do deals as long as they want, but as I say, what happens with most people, see, when we split the deal, we split 50-50. Most people don't want to split 50-50 after they made some bucks.
All right, good. Says, well, this sounds great for folks that have money. What about us that are climbing out of debt?
Well, if they're climbing out of debt, get out first and don't worry about this, because just get yourself out of debt. Because if you're nervous, you're never going to be a good investor. And if you have someone that will fund this for you, it's a good way for you to get in the business of helping other people. This is a real helpful thing to do. You can help other people and help yourself at the same time.
Exactly. And if you're talking about climbing out of debt with regards to coming up with the money for actually buying the deeds and the tax liens, again, that's the beautiful part of this system. Ted's willing to partner up with you. So if that's the part of climbing out of debt that you're worried about, you still have an option here, even if you don't have $15,000, $20,000 or even $5,000 to buy tax liens and tax deeds. You can use Ted's money. Another comment here is the same system is available online at Ted's website. So why should I buy here?
The same system is not available on the website. It's not available.
No, it's not. Definitely doesn't have the same bonuses. That's good.
No way. No way. No way.
I've read that it's best to start in your own neighborhood, so that would mean I should start in Washington State, which is a tax deed state. Just kind of a comment.
Okay, let's talk about that. First of all, I did not have time to talk about it tonight. We should have done a 4-hour webinar. In our class that we'll have on the 12th, 13th, and 14th, Renee, who you already saw about $1 million worth in Los Angeles, he also did just as well in Kent County, which is just south of Seattle. And so I can give you 2 or 3, other case histories of people that just bought in Seattle. I got a guy from Saskatoon that just did that. I got a guy from Surrey that just did that. I just didn't have time to put him in there. So whoever is coming should come and really learn in that class. We're going to teach a class on Washington. Anybody that's listening to me right now should know that they wouldn't know until I tell them. But I'll tell you right now, you're at the perfect time, because it's going to take you a little while to learn this. And all the auctions in the state of Washington happen to take place in December. So what better timing could you have? Learn how to do it, then you could be at the auction doing it.
Do you have any options for payment plans?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, let me.
You just have to click the next slide. I think.
I just clicked the next slide. There it is.
There you go.
How cool is that? I mean, look at that. We did that. I mean, I got my tech guys sitting right here next to me. They're amazing. They're amazing.
So yes, you got a one pay of $19.95, or if you need a payment option, there's 2 payments of $10.99. That's only available until this Friday, actually. So if you want to take advantage of that, make sure you take care of that right away. If you're looking for some other kind of financial assistance or whatnot, contact Ted's office directly. I believe the contact information is on the website there. Another quick question here is, do we need to go to the live workshop? Will there be different information presented there than what's already on the CDs and DVDs?
Oh, massively different, because what happens is it's live, and what I do is I bring in people that are doing it. In other words, people that are buying tax liens and deeds. Like Renee now is doing a lot of this, so now I'm bringing Renee in as a visiting professor. Bob Schumacher will be there. He's been there for a number of years. They teach you what they did over the past 90, 180 days, and we'll have 3 different visiting professors there teaching it.
Yeah, and that's huge, you guys, because it's one thing to watch this on a webinar. It's better to take the program and the course and go through all the information materials. But there's nothing like hanging around people who are actually doing it. That's what really makes it real. That's the kick in the butt that you need to get off your, what do you call it? Your rusty dusty, and actually start taking some action with this. So I can't recommend this highly enough. I was at Ted's 3-day event last year, where some of these folks were just sitting in the audience. Some of the folks you saw on the screen today were just sitting in the audience learning about this. That is what they really took it and ran with it after attending the live event. So what the heck? It's included with the program. If you're on this webinar, chances are you're in British Columbia, because we only promoted this to folks in BC because of the event that's coming up right away. Take advantage of that. Go to see the event live. Now, Ted, if they absolutely can't make it to that event, is there any opportunity for them to go to another one sometime else?
Absolutely. That's a good question, because I do it 4 times a year, so they can come. The next time we announce one, they can come to that, which will, let's see, if we're doing this in September, we might not get another one done this year, but they can come to the next one after that, or in any event. Once they come to one event, they can come to all events.
All right, and now the only thing is that's
in the States. That's
not going to be in BC.
Yeah, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time in the cool months up that way. I'm going to spend it all in Florida and places like that. Well, I mean that as a positive, because if they want to come to Florida, they can do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Actually, my first invite to the provinces, and I think I've told you this, but everybody else might as well know, was in November, and it was to Edmonton, and it never got above 30 below. So I said I'm not. I think I'm a Florida guy now. Look at the gray hair, right? Look at the gray hair.
Somebody asked, can we go to the event if we don't purchase now? I'll answer that one. No. This event is only for your students who've actually got the course. Is that correct?
Yeah, they need, there's too much information for us to give you. Like, let's assume someone orders today. What we'll have to do, the people that order today, we're probably going to start downloading materials to you right away so that you can start studying, because we want to get you up to speed. Keep in mind, you order today, we have to put all this stuff in boxes, UPS, all the rest of it. Each package that goes out the door is somewhere around $50 just to send it to you. It's very expensive on each package. And we have lots of things to send you. So what we'll start doing is downloading materials so that so we can get you up to speed, because you need some instruction before you come to that class. It's certainly going to take it from basics to advanced in 3 days. This is not a slow-moving event. When you go there, you're going to have materials from 8:30 in the morning till 6:30 at night, every day, 3 days. And you'll be able to talk to all those instructors. There'll be mob scenes at the back of the room. You'll be surprised, because every time someone speaks, there's 20 people surrounding them for the whole break.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you very much for being on the call, Ted. It is getting super late where you're at, so I appreciate your time, my friend. I just want to send a shout out there. I've been working with Ted for 3 years. Ted is by far the person. Ted and his company give the best customer service out of anybody I have ever worked with, ever. I mean, I'm talking about above and beyond. So you've got the guarantee. We've had probably, well, over 100 people invest in this program over the last few years. There are always a few folks that it just doesn't work for them. There's never ever been a problem getting a refund if this isn't for you. Ted and his gang are just absolutely the best people to work with. Consummate professional. And like I said at the very beginning, Ted is the world's foremost expert on this topic. He doesn't say that himself because he's kind of modest. I say that. And I know all the other guys who are out there teaching this stuff, they all learned it from Ted.
Right.
And you know, don't let Ted's gray hairs fool you. He's got a crackerjack team on his side. He's keeping this stuff up to date. In fact, I mean, look at all this modern gadgetry, for crying out loud. It's way above and beyond. So, and then I don't think you clued in that whole thing where you can go online in the member site and dial up each of the counties and what properties are available and what the sale dates are. That is huge. that has a potential of saving you literally 90% of the heavy lifting that people had to do even just last year.
That's right. This is a vastly upgraded continuously because of what's happening in the electronic world. It's happening quickly, so we're actually trying to keep up, but we're so far ahead of everybody else. You would never be able to. The website I showed you that'll come online in 2 weeks. Nobody in the country has that. We're the only ones that have it, and it's going to take a while. For a while, we teach all the people to do it. And I'm just running out of voice.
All right, my friend. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys very much. CanadianProfitsTaxCertificates.com. Take action today. You've got a live event coming up in a couple of weeks in Vancouver. Make it to that. Take advantage of all the bonuses and the price freeze, plus the 500 TED bucks that nobody else is getting. So you can go to the event. You can take a guest with your TED bucks if you'd like. Nobody else has had that opportunity, so take advantage of it now. Ted, thank you so much. Everybody, have a great night, and God bless and take care.
Thank you. You're great to do business with. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Ted, can you guys just leave up that that last screenshot so people can see how to get to the website? Again, you guys can just click on the link that I put in the chat box as well.
Okay, thanks.